Hello guys, welcome to Cinema Ultimate. This time, we will tell the story of Venom 2018, the union of symbiotes and humans. The film is directed by Ruben Fleischer and stars actors Tom Hardy as Eddy Brock. Venom tells the story of Eddy Brock, a journalist who investigates cases at the Life Foundation company run by Carlton Drake. The company is conducting research on symbiote species brought from space. During the investigation, Brock actually fused with one of the symbiote species, which made him suddenly gain superpower while being the symbiote's host. How it's going? Here's the storyline. At the beginning of the film, a spaceship is shown returning to Earth carrying 4 samples of species belonging to the biotechnology company, Life Foundation. It was heard that several astronauts in it had problems and fell in eastern Malaysia. It wasn't long before the rescue team came to the place where the plane crashed. Several people from the Life Foundation also came, unloading some research sample tubes to be transferred to the research site. Meanwhile, at the Life Foundation company, Carlton Drake, who is head of the biotechnology company, looks worried about the samples found. Drake asks the number of samples found. The information obtained from the employee is that only 3 have been found, while the other one is missing. At the place where the plane crashed, one of the astronauts managed to survive. Then, one of the female officers handled and took her in an ambulance. While on the way, the astronaut woke up and attacked the female officer with her hands, had squirted a thick liquid, or what could be called a symbiote. Then, long after that, from inside the ambulance came out a female officer who looked strange, as if she had been couched in a symbiote. The scene moved to San Francisco, California. In a house, there are a couple of lovers who are starting their activities in the morning. They are Eddy Brock and Enigmatic. Eddy is an investigative journalist who often brings news about social criticism of justice in society. He is a journalist who dares to reveal the truth at any cost. Shortly after Anne went to the office, Eddy went to the office in his motorbike. Arriving at the office, Eddy went straight to his superior's room. Eddy's boss orders Eddy to do an executive interview with Carlton Drake, who wants to spread the message that his rocket is safe and that the recent crash is just normal. Eddy doesn't like it because he thinks Drake is a fraud. According to Eddy, as an investigative reporter, he cannot pretend to be good when he finds something wrong. However, Eddy's boss still insists on an exclusive interview with Drake. Eddy was forced to agree. In the evening, Eddy wakes up from his sleep with Anne. He accidentally saw that Anne's laptop was on. It turns out that Annie is a lawyer who works at a law firm, which is still a group company with Drake Carlton Life Foundation. Eddy found a confidential email from the Life Foundation where Anne worked. Eddy, curious, opened the email, which contained a secret file that stated claims of unnatural death of the Life Foundation. In the data, it is known that there are many homeless volunteers who die from genuine pigs at the Life Foundation. The next day, in the Life Foundation office, Drake was seen talking in front of school children who were on a study tour. Soon he went to get ready for an exclusive interview with Eddy. At first, Eddy asks Drake good things during the interview. But over time, Eddy asks sensitive questions about the deaths of the experimental volunteers conducted by the Life Foundation. This made Drake uncomfortable and began to look angry. Eddy went back to the office and talked to his boss. Eddy tried to explain everything to his boss. However, it actually made Eddy fired right away. When he came out of his office, he met Anne, who was carrying a cardboard box. It turns out that Anne was also fired from her job due to the data leaked and was very upset, asked to break up right away, and returned her engagement ring to Eddy. While, on the other hand, the other symbiote was still in the body of the female ambulance officer, who at that time went to the market crowd. She looked hungry and ate the eel alive. She killed anyone who bothered her, then approached an old woman and touched her body. Instantly, the symbiote moved to the old woman. 6 months later, Drake and his scientist, Dora, were seen conducting a biological interaction test on the three symbiotes in the Life Foundation laboratory. The yellow symbiote seems to have succeeded in symbiosis with the rabbit. Drake, who saw it, looked happy. He said that symbiote could survive on Earth with a suitable host. Then Drake ordered the scientists to conduct trial on humans. At the bar, Eddy was seen regretting his fate. Then he saw the drug news on TV. Because he was not happy with the news, he went home. On the way, Eddy greets a homeless person on a roadside named Maria. Eddy gave Maria $20, then entered a shop owned by Mrs. Chen to buy something. Inside the shop, a robber came to Mrs. Chen at gunpoint. Poor Eddy could only see from a distance because he couldn't do anything. The scene moves to the Life Foundation laboratory. Drake is seen ready to start an experiment by uniting symbiotes in humans. Drake brings a volunteer named Isaac to enter the laboratory room alone and then close it while observing from the glass. As the symbiote began to emerge from the tube, it slowly approached the volunteer confined in the lab room. The symbiote quickly entered the volunteer's body while observing what would happen. Soon, the volunteer felt excruciating pain from inside his body, while the symbiote came out of the body of the volunteer, who died instantly. The next day, Eddy stopped by Mrs. Chen's shop. He seems to be talking to someone. It's Dora. Dora needs Eddy's help to uncover Drake's crimes in search that sacrifice volunteers. However, Eddy didn't seem to want to interfere. Soon Eddy decided to contact Dora and was willing to help her. Dora takes Eddy into the Life Foundation office to get evidence of the crimes that Drake has committed. When they were about to enter the elevator, suddenly a security guard appeared. Dora then tackled a security guard, while Eddy continued to enter the lab room alone. Eddy started recording evidence with his cell phone. He accidentally found Maria, one of the homeless who used to greet him on the street. Maria became Drake's research pilot, and right now she really wanted to get out of there. Then Eddy tried to open the door by hitting it with an exiting tool. When the door opened, Maria immediately jumped and strangled Eddy. The symbiote in Maria's body can't be seen moving into Eddy's body. Then suddenly the security alarm went off. Eddy also ran to escape. It was true that Eddy was being chased by several Life Foundation officers. Eddy, who began to have strength, he could easily avoid the pursuit of the officers. He was even able to break through the guard trail, jump and run into the forest. Not only that, the officers still chased him into the forest, but they found no trace of Eddy. And it turned out that Eddy had been hiding in a tree in fear. Arriving at the house, Eddy immediately looked for any food that was in its place until the stale food in the trash. He ate until he vomited again. Eddy still doesn't know what happened to him. While in the bathroom, Eddy saw the mirror. Eddy's face changed and a voice from inside his body called his name. Eddy immediately jumped and fainted. Meanwhile, Eddy in the afternoon met Anne, who was having lunch at Dr. Louis at a restaurant to show evidence of a crime that Drake has committed. Before long, Eddy acted strangely by eating other people's food and threw himself into an aquarium filled with lobsters. and then eat the lobsters there. Anne Lovers, who is a doctor, is forced to take Eddy to the hospital. At the hospital, Eddy was laid in an MRI device to check what happened to him. However, when Lewis tried to turn on the MRI device, Eddy and his symbiote were seen in pain. Lewis immediately turned off the MRI device. At the Life Foundation, Drake's men catch Dora because they already know that Dora was involved in introduction some time ago. Then Drake integrates Dora and forced Dora to say that Eddy was the one who took Drake's symbiote. Drake angrily opened the tube containing the symbiotes and immediately entered Dora's body. Eddy heard a voice from inside his body to be careful. When Eddy opened the door, indeed Drake's men were already at the door and immediately attacked Eddy, asking for a symbiote to him. It turns out that Eddy is easily able to fight them even outside the apartment thanks to the symbiote in his body. Drake, who saw the pursuit of the tape, was amazed to see Eddy. Eddy has done symbiosis with his symbiote. He is compatible with his symbiote. Then Eddy went to use his motorbike. A chase occurred between them. Eddy, with the power of the symbiote in his body, is able to avoid the attacks of the Life Foundation subordinates. However, when Eddy was off guard, he was hit by another car by Drake's men. Eddy is injured and his leg is broken. Then Venom comes out of Eddy's body. Instantly, Eddy's wounds and broken bones healed again. He also managed to escape from Drake's men. Eddy began to talk directly to the symbiote in his body. Then symbiote was named Venom. The symbiote looks for its own host to survive and it chooses Eddy. Venom says that he wants to pick up his people during Drake's rocket, which will be launched again and then they will rule the earth. At the Life Foundation, the little child who got into the symbiote was already there. Drake walked over to her. When he asked, the girl just strangled Drake's neck. The symbiote of the girl transferred to Drake's body. Elsewhere, Eddy tries to infiltrate the news agency where he previously worked. Richard, as the receptionist, did not allow Eddy to enter for a security reason. Venom, outside the building, offers to help Eddy enter the building by climbing the building up to the tower. He wants to. However, when at the top of the building, there was a plane just passing above him. Venom looks in pain because he cannot stand its voice. Then Venom tries to restrain himself from falling and immediately infiltrates Eddy's superior's room. Eddy leaves evidence of Drake's crime in his superior office and leaves. When he came out of the building, he saw a lot of police were waiting for him. Eddy had warned them but was ignored. Then Venom's figure emerged from within his body, attacking the officer with ease. And when Venom tries to eat one of the cops, ants come to see him. Eddy tried to explain, then they went to the hospital to check on Eddy's condition again. In the car, Anne tells Eddy that the symbiote's weakness in loud sound waves and fire. Lewis tells Eddy that Eddy's internal organs are getting damaged. Venom, who was annoyed that strangled Lewis' neck, then Annie, who saw it, immediately turned on the MRI device and then made Venom hurt. Venom came out of Eddy's body and finally Eddy was free from Venom. Eddy left. Eddy tries to get out of the hospital. When he is intercepted by military forces, Eddy was easily caught because there was no Venom in his body. Drake immediately interrogated Eddy, asking where his symbiote was. Eddy refused to answer. Drake, who lost his temper, again repeated his question by revealing the form of an evil symbiote from within his body. It is known that evil symbiote is named Riot. Realizing that Eddy is no longer valuable, Drake orders his troop to just kill Eddy. Then his troop took Eddy into the forest. While in the laboratory, Riot ordered Drake to immediately launch his rocket, picking up millions of his people to rule the earth. In the forest, Eddy is ready to be killed. Suddenly, saved by the Venom that enters Ann's body. They then kissed, and the Venom moved into Eddy's body. Venom invites Eddy to prevent Riot because Riot is very ambitious to rule the earth. At the Life Foundation, Drake ordered his men to immediately launch his rocket. Meanwhile, Eddy and Venom were walking there to stop Riot's action immediately. Eddy was surprised because Venom also intentionally wanted to rule the earth, but it turns out that Venom changed his mind after meeting Eddy. It seems that Venom is starting to like his host. Drake ordered his subordinates to immediately launch his rocket. Realizing one of his henchmen is trying to thwart Riot's manifestation, Drake then transformed into Riot and killed the person. Everyone was scared and fled, but the rocket launch had already started. Outside the building, Venom realized his strength wasn't as strong as Riot's, but he kept trying to stop Riot. As they approach the rocket, Riot intercepts Venom, and a fight ensues between them. Venom looks overwhelmed to face Riot, who is able to bring out various weapons from within his body. Then Riot enters Eddy's body and takes over Venom. As Riot was getting ready to enter the plane, there was a deafening noise that made them all bounce and get out of Riot's trap. It turned out that it was thanks to Ann who made a sound from the coordinate space. When Eddy is dying, Venom emerges from the fan and enters Eddy's body again. Venom got up and chased Riot, severing and cables of the rocket's fuel tank until it exploded, killing Riot inside. Venom, who couldn't stand the fire, said goodbye to Eddy. Then Eddy fell into the sea healthy and normal, but without Venom in it. The next day, Eddy was seen talking to Ann. Then a voice from inside Eddy's body came out. Turned out Venom isn't dead yet. On the way, Eddy talks to Venom so that he doesn't eat people carelessly, and Venom is forbidden to eat good people. Then entered Mrs. Chan's shop and bought some food for them. Then again, the same robber came and pointed a gun at Mrs. Chan. The impatient Venom went straight to the person and ate it. In the last scene, Eddy enters San Quentin prison to meet someone for an interview. The officer called the prisoner Red. When Eddy approached him, the man said, "When he is free, there will be a massacre," and the film ends. Okay guys, if you like our channel, support us with subscribe and turning on the bell. Like, comment and share so that you don't miss our next video and our channel can grow even more. See you guys.